So here we are in Genesis 34, and I want you to notice something. When you read Genesis 34, that there is no mention of God saying anything to anyone. No one seeks God. No one calls on his name anywhere in this chapter. So God is completely absent in this chapter. So let's see how that plays out. So Jacob has just had the confrontation, or just the meeting with his brother Esau, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to come meet you in your home in Edom, I believe." And then he doesn't. He goes to Shechem, which maybe that was the plan all along. But it seems like Jacob has returned to his, now that he's gotten through this one crisis, now he's kind of returned back to his ways where he's going to just go do what he wants to do and not follow through on his word. So his daughter, one of the daughters that he has with Leah, her name is Dinah, is raped by the noble, one of the nobles of that country. His name is Shechem, so then he, claims he's in love with her, and so he and his father go to meet with Jacob, and Jacob doesn't do anything about this. And the Bible even notes that Dinah's brothers are out in the field, so Jacob chooses not to do anything. And at the time that Shechem comes to meet with Jacob, the brothers come back in as well. So you've got all of this drama going on at the same time. And throughout this whole narrative, what's going to happen is Shechem is going to present his case that he's in love with her and he wants to marry her, and so rather than Jacob taking the lead and stepping up and taking care of the situation, actually dealing with the situation, we don't hear anything from him. All we hear from is from her brothers saying, well, we're gonna have this plot, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to attack them. But they have the way that they trick them is they say, oh, you have to be circumcised and all of that in order for us to intermarry with you, and then the people of that city say, okay, that sounds good. So they go ahead and be circumcised, and then we see that Levi and Simeon just go in, and maybe by themselves or maybe with other people, they go in and they just kill off all of the men and plunder the city, and just ransack everything. And so it's at this point now that Jacob finally steps up and says something, and you would like to think that he would be taking the moral high ground and saying, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have done this. This was terrible. This was morally offensive in God's eyes, and all of that. But that wasn't his response. His response was, oh my gosh, we're gonna look bad to everybody, and now everybody's hand's gonna be against us, and all of that. And it's a more of a worldly responsibility than taking a godly responsibility for that. So everything in this story, to me, is about man and how we are without God, right? Like, I see a girl that I want, I'm going to take her. I'm going to, you see revenge, you see violence, you see refusal to step up and deal with stuff, to be concerned with what the opinions and what others think rather than being concerned with what God thinks. These are all the things that we do without God. So here's my question for you. How would you have responded? How should Jacob have responded?